Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Ramona, California, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator from New York City, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show. This is episode 1384. It's pretty good.
You're patting yourself on the back every show now.
I was like, 1384. I could have become like, if you total up all these hours together, it's like I could have become a lawyer or something. And hey, I'm grateful for doing this 1384 times. It's saved my life during the pandemic, during hard times, during my breakup. It was God. Thank God. Thank God for the Bhagavatam. We all have to lean into something when life is hard. So we're just saying, lean into spirit, lean into truth, lean into knowledge. And then what will happen is some of it will stick. And some of it you'll end up applying to your life. And that's when we really get that taste for Krishna consciousness, is when we apply it and it sticks. And we're like, wow, I've got a taste for this now. And slowly, we develop this Krishna truth, absolute truth attraction.
Did you ever hear that story that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur told?
I'm sure he told one story.
He told one story.
You're making it sound like there's one story he told.
Well, in relation to what you just shared.
Oh no, I don't think so. Or maybe.
Maybe let's find out.
We'll play 20 questions.
So he told a story about one man that was very sick, and no matter what he ate, he couldn't digest it. He'd either throw it up or pass it out immediately. You know, his body just couldn't process any food. And so many doctors were trying to help him in different ways with different ideas and different diets and different remedies. And no matter what, it was the same thing.
Okay.
And so then another doctor came along and he said, you should eat ghee. You should eat. He gave him a certain amount of ghee. Just don't eat anything else, just eat ghee. And he ate that ghee and gradually just got stronger and stronger and stronger, and he was healed. And everybody turned to that doctor and said, ghee? Like, you think that'd be the last thing, you know? Like, how are you going to digest just straight up ghee, you know?
Right.
And he said, well, I knew that he would eat it and he would still throw up or pass it out immediately. But I knew that there would be a coating of that ghee would stick to the stomach. And that, so from that coating that would remain in his stomach, he would get nourishment and gradually he would get stronger and be healed. And so he used that as an analogy to describe, like, we hear Bhagavatam, we hear other spiritual texts, and we may think, you know what, I'm really not learning it. I can't recall it. I can't, quote it. I can't even fully understand it all.
Right.
But if you just stick with it, it'll stick. Some of it's going to stick, and that's going to nourish you. And the more you get nourished, the more you're going to be able to digest it, and gradually you're going to become really strong and healthy from it.
And sometimes it sticks and you don't realize it till something comes up in the world. Yeah. And then like a Krishna aphorism comes up, some little nugget of truth comes up and manifests. And you're like, oh yeah, this is what the Bhagavatam says. This is what the Bhagavad Gita says. When I first got into Krishna consciousness, I would go get prasad because I was broke, and I would go to the little preaching center around the corner from my house in Greenwich Village.
Greenwich Avenue. Yeah.
Greenwich Avenue, where all the punks went and ate and then walked out. And then some would stick to me. And I would find that I heard the Bhagavad Gita, and I thought it was sort of interesting. I was interested in spiritual philosophy, but I don't know. Everything seemed a little kooky to me. But then when I would use it as a sounding board for other people espousing their philosophy, because I'd go to different churches and different spiritualists and different religions and hear what they had to say. And when you throw it against the Bhagavad Gita, you're like, well, the Bhagavad Gita teaches this. And it became like the gold standard for truth. And I was like, I haven't met anything that has touched this yet. I can
Right.
see how this fits in with the Bhagavad Gita, but still the Bhagavad Gita gives a much broader idea of what they're talking about.
Hmm.
So it's Bhagavad Gita, I find, is like, it's the big book. It's the big, unabridged dictionary where many pocket dictionaries. Do you remember pocket dictionaries in high school? You carried a little
I
pocket.
guess. I don't
It
know.
was like a little tiny dictionary
abridged.
you'd carry in your pocket, and it's a real dictionary, but it doesn't have that many definitions of the same word, so it's abbreviated. But then in the old days, we'd go to the library, and they have these giant dictionaries, like with very rice paper pages. So they're both dictionaries, but one has so much more information in it. I found that the Bhagavad Gita and the Vedic teachings is like that unabridged.
Even though it's smaller, actually, it's only 700 verses, right?
Well, I'm just saying the whole Vedic teachings,
The whole thing. Okay.
is like it
Yeah.
is
Oh,
like
that's
an
for sure.
is like an unabridged
Big
dictionary.
encyclopedia.
Yeah, I always say I understand Christianity better as a devotee of Krishna than I feel like I ever understood it before.
Oh, I thought you were going to say than anybody else.
I understand it better than anybody. I'm the best Christian out there. I feel like I get it. I get where they're going with all this stuff.
Okay. Where are we going
Sometimes
with
a
this
Christian,
podcast?
so I listen to Christian preachers, and
Yeah.
sometimes a Christian preacher will say, you introduced me to a man that rose from the dead, and then I'll follow him. But only Jesus did that. And I was like, that's not true. You hear stories of yogis doing tons of ridiculous. That's not why I'm following Jesus. And I
Right.
think if that's why you're following Jesus, you got it backwards, dude.
Yeah. See what he taught.
Yeah, see what he
Focus on
taught.
that.
See-
Yeah, how it can
yeah.
transform your life.
Because sometimes they'll pull that card out, like, oh, see, he's a mystic, I'll follow him. Where can you meet a man who made water into wine? Where can you meet that man? Follow that man. No, don't follow a guy who makes wine appear magically.
Put your hands in the hands of the man.
Put
Raghu.
your hand.
Is that
Oh
the-
yeah,
the walk the
what?
water
I
or
never
something?
thought about that. That was a Jesus song.
Yeah, of course.
Put your
Put your
hand in
hands
the
in the
hand of the man
who walked on the water or something like that.
who spilled the water. Put your hand in the
I don't think it
man of
was-
the man of
That's just because you're a spiller. You said that.
from Galilee.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. I had no idea that was a Christian song.
Come on. When you were watching someone singing it on Hee Haw when you're like 5 years old, you had no idea, huh?
Poor Mara doesn't even know what hee haw is. The type of entertainment you missed, Mara. Okay, let's get on with
Speaking
this.
of Mara. There we go. That means you hand the mic to her now. We're gonna.
Oh.
There you go.
Sorry.
Okay. We're back to
Shirley, you look beautiful today.
Oh,
your
Doesn't she?
wonderful. Lovely.
Thanks. We're back to your recovery group men's meeting at noon today, Eastern time. And our show time is at 9 a.m. Eastern time through Thursday. And then on Friday, we'll go back to 7 o'clock.
Okay.
All right.
And then 8 o'clock on Saturday. We're jumping all over the place.
And they
Where
can
do they
find
go to
that by going
find
to
it? When
wisdom
you
of the
need to? Yeah. Okay. Let's say hit it right.
You go to wisdomofthesages.com and go to our calendar tab. That's when you can find, if you're sort of like, man, I've been traveling, they've been traveling, or I've been out of it for a week. I get a lot of this. I lost track with the podcast. When is it on? You go to wisdomofthesages.com, click on calendars, and you can join us live. I tell you, live on Zoom, people like it. They get a little addicted to it. It's a little fun. You just, because it's sort of like an alarm clock. You got to show up for it. And it helps with the accountability.
Okay. We start a new chapter today, Raghu.
I know.
But before that, we have a nugget.
Yeah, okay. Here's the nugget, sir.
Who's it from?
This is from a guy named James Shirley.
Yeah. Do you know who he was?
Shirley, I
you
don't
know?
know who he is.
James Shirley was an English dramatist. He belonged to the great period of English dramatic literature. So it goes back like 1600s.
Let's hear what he says about Krishna consciousness.
You have to read this kind of like in your Shakespearean.
That I can do.
dramatic.
You want a dramatic read? I can do that.
Don't
The
overdo
glories
it.
of our blood and state.
Don't overdo it. Don't overdo it.
The glories of our blood and state are shadows, not substantial things. There is no armor against fate. Death lays his icy hands on kings. Scepter and crown must tumble down, and in the dust be equal made, with poor crooked scythe and spade. That is awesome. That is awesome.
You like that, right?
Yeah, this is there seems to be a an armor, a protection, a impenetrable wall that the haves have. The people that have. We always look at people, just being in California. There's some people who are so rich. We were visiting.
You're taking note of that, Raghu?
I am taking note. You can't help it. You drive along Laguna Beach, you see these houses on the hills. These are millions of dollars. Each house is millions of dollars. One of my clients was talking about another client. He's like, yeah, his house is like $20 million now. I was like, there's people who, and we think in our mind, wow, they've got it all together. They've figured it out. Good real estate investment, good choices, good jobs. Sometimes it even seems unfathomable how they even got there. Guess what?
Forest fire.
Scepter and crown must tumble down. No matter what strength you have, we all fall victim to birth, death, disease, old age. Right? It's coming. It's coming, and you can't avoid it. And you can create a cushion within it, but the cushion and in the dust be equal made, with poor crooked scythe and spade.
So
yeah,
like the king, in the end, he's on the same level as the peasant, right? Or the field worker or whatever.
Yeah.
The first stanza there, the glories of our blood and state. Right. So that's our false ego, right? That's like our family, our nation.
Oh yeah. I skipped right over that. I didn't really digest that.
And the next line too, they're shadows, not substantial things.
The glories of our blood and state. The things that we get proud of. Our family name.
Our country.
Our
now
country.
It's Olympics, everybody's it's like our country.
Our country.
Yeah. They're shadows, not substantial things. This is so much of our philosophy just built on understanding this, that which we identify with, which means, and when we say our blood, that means our own body, as well as those bodies that are related to our body. That idea that I am this body, I am a member of this family, it's a shadow. And a shadow, when we could say shadow, we can say reflection, we can say virtual reality. It means the same thing, that there's a reality that it's based on. There is no shadow without the object that's creating the shadow. And the shadow takes on a similar shape as that substance. Right? There's the substance and there's the shadow.
Yeah.
So this Vedanta philosophy, this Bhakti philosophy, it's always trying to get us to say, when you're in this world, you have to look at it and see it as a shadow, see it as a reflection, see it as a virtual reality. Understand that not only is it in one sense unreal, because like a dream, it's here for a moment and then gone, but it also indicates that there has to be a substance that's being reflected in this world. Try to understand that. Try to understand that there's something beyond material energy, that we're playing around in a virtual reality that is a reflection of material, of spiritual energy. And try to connect with that. And the way that we do that is we go within and we realize the self first. And when you realize the self, you realize, I may be a king today, I may be a peasant tomorrow. I may be carrying a scepter today, I'll be carrying a scythe and a spade tomorrow. And fate does that, and there's absolutely nothing we can do about it. And that's the grinding we go through,
I thought scythe and spade was for digging your grave.
No, I believe he's saying that scepter and crown must tumble down. You're holding a scepter and crown one day, but that tumbles down, and it becomes equal with a scythe and spade. You don't dig a grave with a scythe.
Well, you don't. Well, what do you do with it?
You work in the fields. So there's the king. He's got the scepter.
Oh,
and the crown.
I get it. Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're ready for some shelter lyrics, my friend?
Oh,
There you
yeah.
go.
Okay.
We
The
were
bard,
on
then we
this.
go to the real bard now. The
Circa
bard of his generation.
1991, Shelter,
Okay,
The
what do you
Hands
got?
of Time
Oh yeah.
by Raghunath. All of this was called The Hands of
Did
Time.
you do all the lyrics in the band?
Yeah,
Did when you were
did.
like working out the songs?
I did.
Did Parmon underwrite the music?
He wrote some, but I wrote most of it.
Do you have the credits, or is it like
I get the credit.
no, I mean like the
Well,
song.
you want to know how
song-
the money's broken up?
I'm just wondering, is it like Lennon McCartney kind of thing? Are you both on most of the songs, or did you write the music to them as well?
Well, Parmon is such a good guitar player, and I'm such not a good guitar player. Even though I wrote the music, he gets a percentage of the music too, because he actually played it. I just sort of like, okay, play this.
So you give him songwriting credit,
I strum it out on the guitar and teach it to him, but
and he would get partial songwriting credit.
yeah.
How much did you give him, Raghu?
Well, I wrote the
Let's
song.
work this.
So I could,
I'm just kidding. Well, I wrote this one.
he wrote some songs. He wrote the song Shelter. Anyway.
Okay, I was just wondering. And did the other guys, when you were working out the song, like, together as a band, did other guys?
You know
ever-
what? I was a real control freak.
Okay, they didn't write any lyrics. It was entirely you.
Yes. You want to really get into the inner psychology of Raghunath? He's a
Not the
sick
band.
man.
I was just trying to
He's a
understand the
sick
band.
man.
Okay.
Okay, let me just read you
Complete
these
artistic
lyrics.
control.
Let me read you these lyrics. They're really good
All
here.
right, all right, hit it.
Okay. All of
You're not artistic, and you have, what is it again? You have,
all of our heroes. Do you know the song, Mukunda? Oh, he knows it. All of our heroes, they were forced to go. Their wealth, strength, and glamour they were made of. Where is it now? Profit, position, prestige, and name. All that was valued, but was it a gain? It seems I best refrain from all this nonsense that won't remain. You see, it seems like a crime, the hands of time. It seems like a crime. All the kings and things they thought they possessed.
scepters and so on.
Just like our
Crowns.
yeah. All the kings and things they thought they possessed. As time ticks by, they soon realized nothing could be kept. Even the beauty of the body, not to mention the strength of the strong. We were wrong. It's gone. So tell me, to whom did it belong?
Nice. Yes. Right.
You.
Krishna was empowering you then. No doubt. No doubt. This
right,
stuff was
Krishna.
coming out.
This
Why don't you ever
world's a-
write any more songs nowadays?
Can I finish the song, please?
Okay. No, I think it'll be you. There's more inside you to come
There's
out.
just
Go
one
ahead.
more verse. Ready?
Okay.
This world's a mirage.
There you go.
This world's a mirage that we embrace with our love and energy, collecting and protecting all that we see. But it's a sucker's bet. We get upset.
You're going to regret.
Filled with great heartaches and regrets. And the best investment I see is something to hold on to permanently. The hands of time. Boom.
Raghunath.
Not one of our most famous songs, but I really like those lyrics.
Very good, Raghunath. Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, mirage is
Bhagavatam?
another way of saying like a mirage. You can't see a mirage and see it as like water, for instance, without having first seen water. Right? There's always a substance from which the shadow, the reflection, the virtual reality, the mirage is based on.
Right.
So
And
if the world is like that, then what is it based on?
yeah.
Gotta figure it out.
But and the mirages are so darn real. They're so real. Driving through the desert, the mirages look so real. It's unbelievable. Dreams. I was saying about that saying.
There's another one. Yeah.
Like the chicken yesterday, my dream. Someone wrote me, said, like, it was unbelievable. Yeah, it's unbelievable. I had a dream where I'm learning like aphorisms of a guy in my dream who said, if you don't lay, you don't stay. Like that dream was so real. And it was
And
a
then,
mirage. It was a
poof.
mental mirage, a mental concoction.
All right. Yeah. Well, we're going to get into that today as we enter a new chapter in Bhagavatam. We've heard about or Narda has been telling Yudhishthira about the lifestyle and the practices, the attitudes in following these different dharmas. And we heard about all the renunciates, the brahmacharis, the vanaprasthas, the sannyasis, right? All like are kind of like paths of renunciation. Today we enter a chapter that's all about the grihastas, the householders, the married folk.
Grihastas.
Yeah, their dharma. All right. Good song, Raghu. I think you got more in you.
Yeah, they're talking about another shelter thing.
Another record?
You know what? It's the Rick Rubin's got a studio. And the
Okay.
guy who runs the entire studio and does some work there, production stuff, is a big Shelter fan. And he's trying to get us to go there and record something.
Oh, Rick would pull it out of you, Raghunath.
Oh, I would love for Rick to produce it. That would be the best.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great? That'd be a great way to go out.
Go
Rick
out? What are you
Rubin.
talking about?
Well, I'm not gonna like.
Oh, you think like Johnny Cash?
No, it's like my last record. You know.
That's what I'm saying. I think Johnny
That's what I
Cash
meant.
was
Go
like his
out.
last
You think I'm
record.
gonna keep writing records?
No, but I thought you made like I'm gonna make this record and die.
Oh no.
Okay, we ready?
Yeah. So I'm gonna go right to text 1.
Well, what about Narayanam Namaskritya?
Oh, I'm going to do that first. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tatojayam mudirayat. Before we said in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesh vabhadresu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloki Bhakti or Bhavati Naishtiki, by regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees. All that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. And loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Gyana Tamarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Midatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 14, Text 1. Beginning
What's the title
of the chapter.
Ah,
it's good. It's called The Ideal Family Life.
Okay.
Okay, we're talking about ideals. Right? Oftentimes ideals are not that real, but it's ideal. Let's hear what they have to say. It starts with Mirage, Yudhisthira, right? He's asking Narda Muni. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord, oh great sage, kindly explain how we, who are staying at home without knowledge of the goal of life, may also easily attain liberation according to the instructions of the Vedas. So last chapter, we dealt with this very
Sannyasi.
peculiar, out of this world sannyasi who looked like almost like a homeless, not even a beggar. He didn't even beg, but like, almost like what we would call a vagrant, a derelict. He's sleeping on the streets. And when you poke a little further into his psyche, you realize this guy is incredibly deep. He's incredibly wise. So now and he gave all these great instructions on he accepts whatever comes his way. He never goes out of his way. He doesn't reach for anything. If it comes, it comes.
Right.
But now Yudhisthira, who's actually not only a householder, he's a king from a royal family. He's saying, okay, well, does that exclude us? Can people who have homes and families and children, can they also attain liberation?
Yeah.
How do you do it? So he's going to ask Narda Muni this question.
He uses this term here, griha mudha di. Griha mudha di. So it's like griha refers to the home, right?
Mudha refers to a mule.
Yeah, or like it refers to a mule, but because like a mule can be dull, right? Why do they say a mule? For being like kind of dumb, because they say that the mule will it'll work hard all day.
Oh,
to be given just like a little bit of grass at the end of the day, but the grass is all over the place. It doesn't have to.
Yeah. It's like if you work hard all day. Now, people don't understand this because no one's seen a mule, unless you've been to India or a third world country.
It's brutal.
You never seen a mule work. When we think of a mule, we think of like, just walking around and in some barnyard. Now, the mules are like basically living
A lot of times they're carrying
carts.
bricks.
They're carrying bricks nowadays.
Yeah.
Or they're carrying a cart that has so much hay on it. It's like and the tiny little mule is carrying this massive cart of stuff. And the guy's just like hitting the mule in the back with a stick. There's like a agrarian culture, you know? And then the mule has got a whole thing of bricks he's carrying, and it's backbreaking work.
Often very.
And what do you
vicious
get?
animals.
What does it get? The mule driver is saying, I'll give you a little grass. And the mule's thinking, oh, not a bad
Thank
deal.
you.
I'm gonna get grass for this. I love grass. You silly mule, grass is everywhere.
So Griha Mudha D, and D refers to one's thinking, one's meditation, one's intelligence. So Griha Mudha D, how family life or home life, how that stage of life where you have money, you pursue pleasure through the body, through the family, through wealth, how that can confuse one, mudhadi, how it can cloud one's intelligence, cloud one's thinking. Can people that are living in that circumstance, can they become liberated too? Is it only the renunciate? How should they live so
Good
that
question.
they can also be liberated?
This is the pressing question for all of us. I hope there's a good answer here. No, you can't. It's just like you can't.
Nope.
No.
Some will say that. I mean, there's a whole school of Vedanta that more or less says that ultimately it all leads to renunciation, to sannyas.
You know, it's so funny because, like, you go to yoga schools and they're always randomly trying to find some yoga, any yoga school that is not necessarily connected with a lineage. They just like do yoga and they figure, well, we got to start studying some old yoga books, so they pick some random book out and it's like some book on impersonalism and Brahman realization, and they start reading it and going through it, and all of a sudden or some impersonalist translation of the Vedanta Sutra, and they realize none of this is practical for the way they live
just
their
like some
life.
romantic idea.
It's a romantic, oh yeah, and become one with the Atman. It's just like reading the book is their connection, but no, you could need a whole lifestyle that adopts these teachings, and it's something cutting your entire sensual experience with the world. Bhakti is a way to actually live within the world and still find connection.
All right.
And as we move forward, we deepen that connection. Okay, this is text 2. Narda Muni replied, my dear king, those who stay at home as householders must act to earn a livelihood, right? And instead of trying to enjoy the results of work themselves, they should offer these results to Krishna.
Nice.
How to satisfy Krishna in this life can be perfectly understood through the association of great devotees of the Lord.
So we got a formula there.
Yeah.
That it's not a problem to live in the home, but when you're there, instead of trying to enjoy the results of your work, you make your entire work, your life, your family, your home. What is it? Manasadeho Geho. Remember that one, Raghu?
Manasadeho Geho. Yes.
It's a beautiful song about how I'm offering everything. I'm offering my mind, Manasa, Deho, my body, Geho, my home. Everything is I make it all. Here it says Vasudev, Vasudevarpanam, an offering unto Vasudeva, an offering unto Krishna, Sakshat, a direct offering. And how do we learn how to do that? It's not, you don't, this is a big one. Yeah, I want to practice bhakti, but I'm not into those devotees. I'm just going to do it on my own. You can say that. But again and again, we hear that it's really through the association of the great devotees that you learn how to make your life an offering. Otherwise, it'll overpower you.
Yeah. You got to just find some devotees that you jive with.
Yeah. And respect the other ones, even if you don't jive with them.
Yeah, I don't jive with a lot of people. I respect them, though.
Yeah. Appreciate them.
Now, here we are in Mukunda Kishore's beautiful home. And as soon as you go in the front door, you're supposed to have like a dining room and, something fancy. He's got this beautiful room it's just for the deities. Like if you were not a devotee, you'd be like, what the hell is this room? Where's all the furniture? There's no furniture in here. There's just a big cabinet in here. And there's a bunch of little Krishna dolls on a seat. But a few cushions on the floor. Yes, this is a temple room.
From the enjoyer's perspective, it's a misuse of space. From the spiritualist perspective, it's a perfect use of space.
Yeah, and it's sort of like the first room you see when you walk in the house. So from a materialistic perspective, they're thinking, well, okay, I guess they're not.
This is
done
where you're
dec-
supposed to impress the guests.
Yeah, I guess they're not
Or-
decorating. They're not finished decorating yet, but they've been here for a few years now. There's like no chairs in here. It's just a strange drum. Yeah, that's because they're offering their deho to Krishna.
The Geho.
The geho and their deho.
And the Deho. Manasa as well.
Okay.
Text 3 and 4.
A grihasta, right, a spiritual householder, must associate again and again with saintly persons. That's important. With great respect, he must hear the nectar of the activities of the Supreme Lord and his incarnations, as these activities are described in Srimad Bhagavatam and other Puranas. Thus, one should gradually become detached from affection. Here's a big one. From his wife and children, exactly like a man awakening from a dream. All right.
You know,
I'm gonna explain this. This.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Hit it.
We are attached. Everybody is attached. Once you have a family, you're attached. But this type of attachment, it should be understood that there's a weird, overly attached, almost like a sickly attached, as if this person is my God. These children will be the ultimate source of my joy. And we find again and again that it's not true. There is some deep pleasure, maybe the deepest pleasure in your spouse and in your children. But we also find that sometimes the kid goes wrong. The husband betrays us or the wife betrays us. So there's also, whenever you have, so that's how you can tell it's material pleasure, because there is some type of pain deeply that goes with that enjoyment. But when we actually have spiritual joy, it's not dependent on another person. It's just dependent on me and my connection. And my connection, this is the only way it's dependent, is serving the spiritual community. And so in one sense, there is other people involved, but it's not necessarily the people that I was so attached to, the children that look to like me, the spouse that thinks I'm the greatest person on the planet. That's a great thing to be there, but it's still of this world. So you can still have this spiritual household. This is a caveat here, but that household has to have a center, and that center can be the Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, some of us may say, that's part one. Part two is some of us say, well, my spouse, my husband, or my kids, they're not into this. That's okay. As you become into this, it will affect them in a deep way, and that's your duty as a household.
You know what? A few verses down, he's going to begin to speak about that situation.
What?
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking like the Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into this text 5 here. What? Text 3 and 4.
I want to share a little bit. No. I just wanted to share a little on this one too.
Oh, okay. Go. Well, please continue.
Okay. No, but I appreciate the way that you explained that right now. That's very helpful.
Thank you.
Now, this word affection, it's interesting because a lot of the times, when we're hearing from Srila Prabhupada, and we've shared this before, that he was trained in schools that, these old British schools back in like the turn of the century, or even before the turn of the century, right? Not this latest term, but before that, right? So like 1890, whatever, Prabhupada was in school, or 1905 or whatever. He was learning English and so on. And so, like, when we hear the word affection, we generally think of, like, if we open up a dictionary now, the first definition will be a gentle feeling of fondness or liking.
Oh,
and so when we hear this, it sounds like, we're not allowed to have feelings of fondness for our family. That's definitely not the message. But if you look at the second definition and the third, affection, the act or process of being affected, right? In other words, that you get changed in contact with something, or a condition or disease, an affection of the skin, right? When your skin gets affected by something.
You're good. You're like a word nerd, man.
You like that, right?
You took this apart. Good for you. You're going back to this Victorian understanding of the English language.
Yeah, Victorian. So So these texts, they're definitely not telling us that we can't have feelings of fondness for our family. Absolutely not. But what it's saying is that there's a very common effect of family life and household life that one has to guard against. There's a very common condition that one experiences where they feel, as you were saying, this is the source of my happiness. You said like they see this person as God. God is called Rama, right? The source of all pleasure. We see my happiness, my pleasure in life this is the source of it. This is the root of it. This is where it comes from this house and the comforts in the house, from this spouse and the feelings that I get from them, from touching them, from the family and the embraces and so on, that this is where I will derive my happiness. That happiness is like a dream. It's here for a moment and then poof, it's gone. As they say, like the breath of a buffalo on a cold day. It's poof, it's gone.
Ever hear a deer make that noise?
I don't know if I have.
Yeah.
Is it strong?
I've slept outside and hear these sounds like it's like a snort.
Snort, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's what's being warned against here, that we don't get an illusory affection, an illusory condition from misunderstanding the nature of this relationship. But he's giving also the remedy for that, and that is, it says, Shrinvan Bhagavato Bhikshanam. I'm sorry, Shrinvan Bhagavato Bhikshnam, which means Shrinvan, to hear Bhagavato, the Bhagavatam, Bhikshnam, again and again. All right, again and again. In other words, like daily, like every day. But you can live in that home and have feelings of affection and fondness for your family, and at the same time be unaffected by it, not become diseased by it or conditioned by it or confused by it. As was being discussed in the last verse, right? This Mudha, having a confused, clouded awareness or intellect. And the cure is by hearing Bhagavatam again and again. Now, there's a little something I want to read from the commentary here. Prabhupada writes, in a dream, we form a society of friendship and love. And when we awaken, we see that it has ceased to exist. Similarly, one's gross society, in other words, the tangible society, not the dream society, but the tangible, one's gross society, family, and love are also a dream. And this dream will be over as soon as one dies, or if not sooner, right? Therefore, whether one is dreaming in a subtle way or a gross way, a dream or a dream within a dream, these dreams are all false and temporary. One's real business is to understand that one is a soul, aham brahmasmi, right? I am spirit, and that his activities should therefore be different. Then one can be happy. Cut and through it.
Yeah.
All right. Text 5. Oh, and this goes to what you were getting into, Raghu. Like, let's say that this is, I tell you, for so many of our listeners, a question becomes very important is, okay, I'm hearing Bhagavatam every day by listening to the podcast or reading on my own.
But my husband isn't.
My husband isn't. My family isn't. Where I work, it's not.
Yeah.
What do I do? And this becomes, I think when you and I cut them out.
Joking.
No, but when you and I got into this, I think our natural response and our common response within the Sangha that we were in and so would be straighten them out or cut them off. It was something like that. We're hearing something very different from Narda, who wrote the Narda Bhakti Sutras, who's the sage amongst the Devas. I mean, this is greatest authority in Bhakti Yoga. He's not going to tell us to do that. He's going to tell us.
Your job is to lift them up.
Yeah, he's saying that you can even go along with their, like, if they're not capable of fully understanding it, you don't have to confront it exactly. And let's hear what he says. It's interesting.
Yeah. While working to earn his livelihood, as much as necessary to maintain body and soul together. One who is actually learned should live in human society unattached to family affairs, although externally appearing very much attached.
You see?
So you go through it all, but you understand in the back of your mind, like it's all temporary. You have truth running through the back.
Yeah.
That's like the back soundtrack in your mind. Like, you know what? Ultimately, these kids are going to leave me. One of us, we get along really well, but one of us is going to die first. So it's not like they're your final investment. You realize my real investment is with Krishna. Even if people are like, you and your wife are both, devotees of Lord Krishna, but you assist each other on your spiritual platform, on your spiritual path rather, but you understand that ultimately I'm Krishna's. Like a lot of times in religion, they think the goal is, well, let's just have a happy marriage. That's religion. Or let's have a happy marriage and let's continue this after we die. There is a really funny, what was that show? It was a Larry David Curb Your Enthusiasm thing. And they were going to get like a second marriage. I wish I had this.
Renewing their vows, I think.
Yeah. And he's like, and we will live in peace together
Until we
in
die.
this life and eternally. And he's like, wait, eternally?
Hold
Larry
it.
David's like, eternally, wait a second. I think maybe after a while, after we die, we should reevaluate if things are going. I never signed up for eternally.
Reevaluate.
But it's one of these things that's an idea. Like we want to create heaven on earth here.
Right.
But the idea is it's us and God, and our partners is assisting us on our path.
We had a question. I had a question about that the other. Shamali asked me about that. Because she loves her parents so much. Now her parents are devotees. Kind of everything that she knows about Bhakti.
Nice evolved devotees.
Wonderful devotees. But she was asking about that. I forget the exact question, but it had to do with that. That idea that it's such a common thing. Will I be with my loved ones in the afterworld?
If you take birth again, if you all take birth again, you will probably.
Will we know each other? And I think I said there's two ways to look at it. One is that certainly Krishna grants that. Like we see Druhva Mirage, right? Earlier in the 4th canto, where he as a young boy, he becomes a bhakti yogi, right? And then he lives a long life as a king. And then he's finally, ready to leave this world and be liberated. And one of these spiritual Vaikuntha airplane kind of things comes down, right? And there's these 4-handed, blue-skinned,
aliens,
messengers, coming down to pick him up and welcome him and say, we're taking you home. We're taking you out of here. And you can imagine like how beautiful those beings are. Like just their complexions alone are just like you could stare at, and beautiful faces and eyes, and their jewelry is like all like, it's not like it glows in a way that's like transcendent. It's not like anything of this world. And they're inviting you to come onto the ship and just to soar in this incredible, beyond, and you'd be feeling like, oh, I'm free. But they looked at him and, they were flying and they looked at him and they felt like something wrong, and he's like, well, my mother. Now, if we go back in Dhruva's story, remember it was his mother that gave him his first instructions in Bhakti. Remember that? Like when he got kicked off the lap of his father from his stepmother. And his mother said, don't hold any animosity towards her, but this is the way this world is. And if you want to transcend it, you have to go into the forest of Vrindavan and practice yoga. So he said, how can I go without her? And they said, no, look back. And right behind him on another spaceship, she was flying, right behind him. So like there was an indication that, the Lord in the heart is fulfilling everyone's desires. And if that's the desire of his devotee, he'll fulfill it. But on the other, but you're throwing that one right.
If there's still material affection, then
if it's material affection, then it's
material affection. There'll be
come
material
back to
birth.
enjoy it in the material realm.
Yeah, and you'll get those roles. Maybe you'll be sisters and brothers, or maybe even a pet. You could even be a pet of a
Okay.
person, or you could be. I was just talking to our friends, this family that they were saying they went to a mystic, and the mystic said, "Yeah, your daughter was your mother," and you could say, "Yeah, my daughter has been. She's like a mother. She was always like an old lady since she was a little kid. She's been instructing me and trying to correct me all the time. Yeah, it's like you just switch in roles."
Yeah. But I was going to say, even beyond that, there's the idea that we have special affection, the other kind of affection, the fondness, right,
Yeah.
for our family members. And that's a very natural thing. You know, it's a very, obviously, a very common and natural feeling or emotion. And so we think that life beyond this world wouldn't be complete for me if they weren't there. You know, I can't imagine breaking that if the relationship were broken, how could I feel happiness if that
You think,
relationship
I
were
was
broken?
thinking the other day, I was like, I wonder if me and Kastuba are related, like in another birth.
Okay, I'm working on a thought here, though.
Okay.
I appreciate
Well,
that.
that's a thought too here.
Okay, just let me complete this one first.
Okay, you're not done with that. Okay, I thought that was
Okay.
the natural
No,
pause
no,
there.
stay
Sorry
with,
about
stay
that.
with me. So,
No,
so
oh.
that's a natural inclination. Obviously, how will I be happy if this relationship that's given me the deepest happiness in life, if it's broken? How will I be happy without it? And I, you know, I shared that it's something like that jell-o in the prison kind of thing. Like, you know, okay, we're ready to let you out of the prison. Will they have the jell-o out there? Well, jell-o, man, this is the last thing you need to think about. There's like all kind.
You're out of prison, dude.
All of these years in the prison, this has been my only happiness is this jell-o. If I'm going to leave the prison, is the jell-o going to be out there?
Right.
It's like, don't worry about the jell-o, man. There's going to be so, and so the idea is we have special affection for certain. We're born into a family. We have special affection for these people that have loved us, shown us affection and kindness and you know, and care. But the fact is that relationship was just going on for a blip in time. Before that, you were in another family. And there are other beings that identified you as their family members, and they were showing you special care. And before that, there's another group of people. And the fact is that ultimately, you know, they call it a family tree, you know, like it kind of branches out and you feel a special connection to people on your tree. But the fact is that we're all part of a big tree that is, and the root of it all is Krishna. And so in our enlightened awareness, we feel that similar kind of affection and love for every living being. You know, so still, Krishna's showing he can take that one that you have this special affection for in this life and fulfill your desire to be with them. But at the same time, you're going to feel a kind of deep spiritual connection, deeper than what you're experiencing with your family right now, with every living being. You'll have that vision,
Sure.
and that's the awareness of the great sage or the you know, the real deeply spiritual people that we admire, that they feel kind of loving affection for everyone. But, you know, he's going to go deeper into this. We'll come back tomorrow. We'll go deeper into this because he's going to go even deeper into this idea of being in a family or being in some social circumstance where you have your bhakti spiritual life going on, but the others around you don't. And he's not saying confront them, correct them, reject them, but he's showing another way to live amongst them, which is really important, I think, for us and for our listeners.
All right, Mr. K.
All right.
We got some takeaways for you, things you can take away with you in the course
What you
of the
got,
day.
Mara?
Well, takeaway goodies prepared by Miss Mara.
Lean into Bhagavatam through good times and bad.
Lean on
Yes. Yes.
Some wisdom will stick and nourish and strengthen us.
in.
Something will stick to the
Ghee.
ribs.
The Vedic teachings are like an unabridged dictionary.
I would even say an encyclopedia.
Well, then you can't use the pocket dictionary analogy.
Okay.
They're
well,
both dictionaries, but
okay,
one
you're gonna
fits
vote
within
okay,
the
all
other.
right.
See there?
Thanks. Okay.
The king will tumble and die like the peasants.
Yep. His scepter be blending right in there with the scythe.
Seems like a crime, the hands of time.
Aw, quoting
Oh.
Shelter. Seems like a crime.
Understand our final investment is in Krishna.
What do you think of those lyrics, Mara?
They're great.
Aw.
Oh. What do you think, honestly, now, when you go see Youth of Today, what are you thinking, Mary? I want to hear musically.
Well, I appreciate the energy that the shows have.
Positive energy, even if the music is
Positive
not
energy.
exactly your
Positive
thing.
energy.
No doubt. I'm with you there.
Yeah.
She was into, what were you into?
Rage
again?
Against the Machine.
Beastie Boys. Oh, you liked Rage Against the Machine?
That was like
Yeah.
the last thing I liked Rage Against the Machine.
Okay.
I like.
Did you like Fish or something like that?
I didn't listen to
She
Fish
liked-
so much.
Toots and the Maytals.
I did. It's true.
Toots.
Fish.
I'm going to call you Toots. How about that? Hey, Toots.
All right, back to our takeaways.
Let's keep moving along.
Learn to practice bhakti through association of great devotees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about the pygmies?
That was yesterday's. Silly mule, grass is everywhere.
Silly
about-
mule.
Silly rabbit. How about this one? Bhagavatam, again and again. That's a t-shirt, Raghu.
Don't diss fish. How about that?
From Eileen Shovlin.
Yeah, I don't know if that would work.
And
And? Yeah.
don't worry about the jello.
Don't worry about the
Jell-O,
Jell-O,
people.
So much more out there.
You know what you can worry about? You can worry about not going to India with me, Mara, and Kastuba. We're going. Go to my
We're
website,
going.
raghunath.yoga. Check it out. You're going to be happy about that. It's our pilgrimage to our favorite places, holy places. You get a real whirlwind tour of India. Check them all off your bucket list. Also want to thank everybody who's our contributing members. Keep this podcast going. It's community support, and we appreciate everybody that supports us. If you like what we're doing, you listen to it on the regular basis, you feel like, you know what, I want to contribute to what they're doing, we appreciate it, because we're always thinking of ways to expand this to more and more people. So go to wisdomofthesages.com and become a monthly donor. All right, it's our last day in San Diego. Tomorrow, we're leaving tomorrow.
Going to Ben and Esther's today.
Oh, we're going to
Ben
Ben
and
and
Esther's.
Esther's. If you haven't been there, it's a vegan Jewish deli
never
owned by our
been there.
friends Govardhan and Mukunda Kishore's family. And we're going to go there and get some vegan goodies.
What does Mukunda Kishore recommend on the menu?
Come on in, Mukunda. Let's bring him in. Let's talk about the Ben and Esther's menu. SoCal people, also in Portland. What's on the menu at Ben and Esther's?
You've got all your classic Jewish food, matzo ball soup, Reubens.
Oh, I'm going for matzo ball soup today.
We've got cheese steaks.
Cheesesteak.
Is that a Jewish deli thing? Cheesesteak?
Not a Jewish deli.
It's not a Jewish deli thing, but we
Let's throw that in
gotta switch it up a bit.
They ran out of ideas for the Jewish deli. What else do the Jews eat?
We have all
We got
the
lasagna.
sweets too.
People want
We
it.
have all the sweets too. We got right now on special. We have s'mores cookies.
Oh.
Do you-
Oh, because
do
the
you-
Jewish, they do have like some marshmallow cookies, right? I've seen like.
I don't know if it's a Jewish thing, but
S'mores aren't Jewish.
S'mores aren't Jewish. No.
No, but I think there's some Jewish cookie that has like a marshmallowy thing. Martine, help us with this. Is that right?
Do you have yeah,
Oh, it's
bagels?
Eastern
Of course,
European
we got
food.
bagels, Parmon. Bagels and lox.
Our best-selling sandwich, the Lizzo, actually created by the singer Lizzo.
Who's
created
Lizzo?
Lizzo's a famous singer. I don't know who she is, but she's famous.
I've heard of her.
They also have a bagel called the Sammy Siegler. It's a sandwich. Tell us about the Sammy Siegler sandwich.
Sammy Siegler. It's called the Siegler Sammy, named after Sammy Siegler.
I
That
get it.
plays in
Sammy,
Keep It
like a
Today in
sandwich.
Shelter.
Oh, the Siegler Sammy. I get it. So that's why I guess you won't have a Ray Capo sandwich, because there's no Sam in my name. Ray. What could you do? I was hoping he might throw like Raghu's favorite bagel or something like that, but I guess because his name is created today.
What's that?
I can tell you my favorite.
All right, we'll create it today.
What's that little pastry? The Jewish little pastry, the little small ones.
Is it like a? You mean Hamantaschen? The
Rugula.
triangle?
The Raghu Rugula.
Oh, Rugula, yeah.
Call it the
Raghu
Rugula.
Rugula.
The
Rugula is
the
Jewish?
Ragula.
The Ragula. Oh yeah, Martine knows. Now, do you get Jews that go there, or do you just get vegans?
Mainly vegans, but we definitely get Jews too. Jewish vegans also.
I mean, for a Jewish vegan, there you go.
Very interesting. I wonder if Jews would just go there. Well, this is not exactly what I usually get, but
It's definitely all
you're
kosher.
local.
A lot of times they're not stoked when they find out the lox is carrots.
Carrot locks. What
Are
is
you
it? What
kosher?
are
Are you
lox?
kosher? Like, do you have
Fish?
kosher certification?
No kosher certification.
But you don't really need it.
Yeah,
'cause
we
it's
don't
vegan.
really need it, and we're not. Our main thing is for the animals, so we're doing it mainly as a vegan thing, not as a Jewish thing.
But every person that follows a kosher diet would know.
Everything is naturally kosher anyway. We don't. There's no meat or dairy there, so.
Right. So you
Oh,
don't
so
have
it's
to bother
naturally
about
kosher
it.
anyway.
And
You
it's
could just
hard to
write
get
that
that
on the
kosher
sign,
certification.
naturally kosher.
From what I hear, it costs a lot to get that kosher certification. It's like,
Yeah,
how
we
do you-
did ask a rabbi what to do, and it's $2,500 a month to get the kosher certification, and they just come to light the flame.
Forget it.
Forget
It's worth just becoming a rabbi to do that.
it. It's a racket.
You know what I mean?
It is.
Just pay your daughter to become a rabbi.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah, you know, that's very interesting. Interesting thing, the kosherification of things.
I mean, we have gornatai in the kitchen, so everything's prasadam anyway.
Kosher. In that
There you
sense.
go. That's the most kosher.
Okay.
Gornatai giving full blessings. It's Lord Chaitanya. We're going for a hike. We're going to Potato Chip Rock this morning.
Potato chip rock?
We're not. We're going to Ramona Grasslands.
Okay.
Going for a hike like right now.
You're flying today, though, right? You got like a red eye
Tomorrow.
or something?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay.
Are we getting
So
in
we're on the
late?
same time tomorrow.
Yeah, we're on the same time tomorrow.
We get in late tomorrow night. That's why we're keeping the show at 9 a.m. on Thursday, even though we'll be back in New York.
You're going to be at Ben and Esther's. I'm going to be at Divya's today, Raghu.
Oh, you need a Ben and Esther's in New York.
I love it. I mean,
So you
right
have
here
a
on Upper West
second
Side.
restaurant to go to.
Upper West Side, right up here, man.
But because Stu's got very
Large
strict
clientele.
dietary rules. Like he
Not
just
that-
doesn't go to regular restaurants. He won't do
I
it.
don't-
I appreciate that. I'm not going to follow it, but I
Okay.
love you. I love that you do. But we went to a great vegan restaurant yesterday. It was wonderful. That was really wonderful. Burmese. But the fact that, we went out to dinner with a crew the other night, was with Sage's crew and Mukunda Kishore and Claire and Jai Shri Triolo, a lot of Wisdom Sage's people.
Gracias, Madre.
Gracias Madre. It was wonderful. Because Stu was like, I will take an avocado, table salt, and a celery stick.
Olive oil.
We have all these gourmet Mexican food stuff, gorditas and, blanconas and chimparules.
You're just making up words.
Like food you've never eaten. It's like cooked by a master Mexican vegan chef. And Stu was like, I'll have a banana and an ice cube and some salt.
The two best things that come out of Gracias Madre were, one, we got a great photograph. I'll share it today on Instagram.
I'll put that on Instagram, yeah.
And two was just the muncher, Gracias Madre, because Raghunath was chanting his Radhe Radhe thing. We said, oh, this is perfect. Radhe Radhe.
Gracias Madre.
Gracias Madre. And
Thank
it's
you,
perfect.
Mother.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mother
Mother.
Devotion, right?
Yeah. Yes, it was. That was good. Anyway, it was nice. Nice hanging with you and Linda.
It was Mary's birthday. It was beautiful.
It was Mary's birthday celebration.
Brother
Yeah.
Nature was there.
Brother Nature was there. And Watson too.
Who?
And Watson.
And Watson was there. Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
both from my Sage group, Brother Nature and Ann Watson.
What's that?
We were all in the Sage group together, Ann Watson and Brother Nature and I.
Is that your Sage group?
Yeah. Or
You're going to
last
start up
round of
Sage
it.
group next one, Mary?
People want you, Mara. They want you.
Mara.
I know. It's hard when we're traveling. India time zones makes it a little
That's
tricky.
true. That's true.
Okay,
Okay.
everybody. We got to go hiking. We got a hike to go on. It's a beautiful
All right.
day for a beautiful day. It's a magical day. Don't miss the magic.
Oh, new one. I like it.
Don't miss the magic. It's here for the taking.
Okay.
Hey,